The following featured presentation is part of the Skywalking Network.
Welcome back, everybody, to Collect-Opolis. I'm Ernie Moreno.
And I'm Kevin Toft.
And today we have an absolutely jam-packed episode. Kevin, tell our audience all about it.
Well, first, I'd like to let everybody know I now have a background. How about that, huh? If you've been following our previous episodes, it's been a bit of a mishmash, but now this will be the background, and maybe new things will appear on it over time. Stay tuned to find out. We are very fortunate. We have a living legend on the show today who was also on another Skywalking Network show called Talking Apes to talk about his time in the movie Battle for the Planet of the Apes. But Paul is an amazing legend, and you need to know this about him. He is a singer, songwriter, actor, author, and recovery advocate, as well as the president of ASCAP. Yes, those are the people that make sure that songwriters get paid for their work. So what you really want to know about Paul's career, here's the amazing stuff in the music side of things. Yes, he wrote a Academy Award-winning song with Barbra Streisand on the movie A Star is Born. He has written major hits for the Carpenters. Most recently would be the fact that Daft Punk hired him to come and help them write songs on the album Random Access Memories, which was
great
album of the year. And if you Google it and you end up on YouTube, you will see the video. The person giving the acceptance speech for Daft Punk is the one and only Paul Williams. He has also been in many movies and many TV shows. I just mentioned Battle for the Planet of the Apes, but he's also been in the Smokey and the Bandit movies. He also has a cult classic called The Phantom of the Paradise. Look that up and you will see some amazing stuff. TV shows from The Love Boat, Fantasy Island, BJ and the Bear. Oh, and by the way, yes, he wrote the music for the Muppet movie. And I could just keep going on, but if I do, that's all we'll be doing. And he's got that major of a career. And with that, let's go visit our new friend, Paul Williams. Okay, everybody. Hey, we're here with Paul Williams, and we're going to go ahead and ask him some questions about the cup. I want to break it down with him and talk and ask him a few questions about how it all came to be. So my first question is, how does something like this go down? Do they come to your management?
You know, I always leave a window open at night in case somebody really needs to talk to me. They can kind of, very surreptitiously slide open the window, crawl in, and like come over and poke me and wake me up and go, would you let us do it? I have no idea how it.
Okay.
Kevin, I have no idea. All I know is that really that deep into my career, there's when you look at the cup, there's a couple things that are not mentioned on there, but it's it was like what, 1970.
1970 is like right in the middle of it. I think they just kind of trying to cover the 70s. They weren't very specific.
Incidentally, they're very rare. You almost never find one. I think that's actually the last one in existence in the world. But yeah, I've snatched a couple on eBay, through the years and all. But when you look at it, it's like, first of all, it's one thing. The only thing that came close to this is in Vegas. I had my name up on on bus benches. It was like, oh,
right,
Mariana, look, my name.
It's me.
And benches. And then this. Okay, so I won't last today. I think You and Me Against the World was probably 1975.
Okay, that tells you a lot right there.
Yeah, and I think that's the last song that I had, on the charts probably before they did this. They did a songwriter series, and
right.
It's me. It's got my the signature is actually like my signature. If you want to go out and try to write some lyrics that pretend like you're me, go ahead. This is what the signature looks like, and. But this is me. This is in my Haley Mills period. I look,
Right. Well, actually, did you get to approve that, or did they just go, surprise, this is you?
No, they took a photo that I actually had a photo that we were using that I looked like that. I looked like somewhere between Patty Duke and it's interesting because with the lines and everything, it's the face when you're really getting close, it looks pretty old already, and I was working on it, but I'm actually so much healthier than I was then. But
well, it's the style of that artwork.
Yeah, I was gonna say the black and white kind of just does,
It's a screen printing issue. It looks like they're using white as one of the colors, and they've got black and then the flesh tone and the orange and the purple, and that was it. And they had to make it all work with that, so
exactly.
Well,
I don't know if it's microwavable or not. Shall I go find out?
No.
Yeah, just melt into a molten. Yeah, actually, I was noticing these
for that.
I used to get these all the time as a kid, right? There were baseball ones, there were superhero ones, and we loved them and stuff like that. But the printing on them is not robust. It scratches easily, and I think the reason I don't have many of these from when I was a kid is because I loved them so much. I used them, and when I used them, then they were just so scratched up that they were, you could barely tell what it was. But these have been kept in, I would say, pretty darn good condition here. And it's and again it's special to me because it's you, and
we're friends, and I appreciate that. But this is I think someday it's gonna be the perfect thing to when I'm rocking on my in the old rocking chair on my porch yelling, "Get off my lawn!" And I used to be somebody.
Throw it at him, get off my lawn. Silly question though. So they wrote the bio on here? They didn't even run the songs by you. They just went off the charts, which would have been easy to do.
I was busy writing and touring. I was living on the road at that point. And
then surprise, did they send you any? When they came out, did they send you any? Like, hey, they're done. Here you go.
An area 1, not a cup. It's like, understand we were thrilled to have this. It was like, I'm trying to remember who. I think Mac Davis was a great buddy. I was also one of the Cubs, wasn't he?
Yes. Yeah, I know you were close with him.
So Mac was a good buddy, and we had, it was one of those kind of, we'll always have Slurpee cups together.
Well, again, growing up when I did, there's nothing cooler than that. I mean, because for a long time, Slurpees, that was it. It was Slurpees, video games. You went there to get your bubble gum, your comic books. 7-Eleven was kind of a hub, and when these things came out, they were a big deal.
It's interesting because, first of all, the gift that you get from somebody that is a solid fan of anything you've done, whether it's an odd little artifact like this, or some movie that nobody else paid any attention to, it's a real gift to the performer or the writer. I talk about the fact that and not that we're going to talk about my career here. We'll speak of that another time, but that so much of the work that I'm doing these days is from people that love stuff that I did in the 70s that nobody else watched. That whether it's Phantom of the Paradise or fans of things that just kind of seem to disappear. People that really love them would tell other people about them, and you really need to know about this and this. This you really And what happens is all of a sudden you build that kind of a cult following for something, and it's just one of the nice things about this, Kevin, is it's a chance to actually say I'm grateful. Thanks very much for the people that have supported the stuff I've done through the years, and what they did by loving the things that the whole world didn't love is probably the best gift that I got, because I no longer refer to something that isn't a success right away as a failure.
Right.
When Daft Punk calls you, and in 2014, because they loved your movie that came out in 1974 before they were born, you don't want to jump in and say, well, Phantom of the Paradise was a flop. No,
it's that thing we talk about. You put stuff out in the universe, right? Then you put stuff out in the universe, and it sits there, right? And then it goes through its cycle, and then people come along and discover it, and boom, it's amazing the way that works.
Know what, Kevin? The strange thing is that now, with the way that we can recall media in an instant, things that have been done in the past are instantaneously getting cult followings, as opposed to, hey, I have to go to a convention to grab a VHS copy of something that was on TV, 20 years ago. Now I can recall almost anything on the internet, as long as I have the will to do it.
Also a lot of it is about time passing, because at a certain point, all of a sudden the world realizes oh look, he's 6 blocks past passe. It's now time to honor him. So
Yeah.
I'm nothing but grateful. I love the work that I do. The best part of what I get to do is that I don't have to give up my fan card, so I can be as thrilled about somebody else as somebody is about me.
By the way, is there anything like any other merchandise you would want to be on, like that you never got a chance to be? Is there anything I wish I could have got on that or been on one of those? Or
well, a $100 bill would be fantastic.
I'll see what we can do about that.
They sent me a bunch of them because I'm on a batch of those. It's like, what? I have this room is full of like old books, Beauty and the Beast, and things like this. This is like,
oh wow,
that is just
beautiful illustration.
Wow.
Old illustrations and stuff like that, and it's just, I'll grab something online that, this is just sitting over on a bookshelf, but look at this. This is like,
yes.
Oh,
I love those.
oh my gosh, is that?
No. But I mean, I'll see something like that on eBay, and I go, gotta have it,
I get a few of those too. I'm really a huge Gunsmoke fan, and I've been up on Hollywood Boulevard. They have those short stores you can go to. They've got all the 8x10s of all the shows. So I have a few Gunsmoke ones that I've collected over the years.
There are now how many channels? There's content is. I just I got a scavenged bit of an article from 2014. And it's like the person that wrote to me said, this is a kind of a weird quote of something you said about me. And I looked at it and I went, I don't remember ever talking to this guy, this person. And so then I looked at it closely, and I noticed that it was like a reprint of something that was a really nice article, in like June of 2014. I was getting a little more attention because I just, Daft Punk, we just won Grammy of the year. So, and I went through that, and it was just a total misquote of what the actual quote was.
Oh.
So it's like at this point, it's interesting. It's all out there, the good and the bad.
Yeah.
And I think you have to just kind of, be prepared to, I've been really lucky. I have not had any major attacks. I've had, a cuddly cyber experience.
Well, that's good. Let's keep it that way.
What's really great too about what I was saying earlier about how everything is accessible though. If somebody thinks that they found something, like you said, like a misquote, very easy for somebody to just do a quick Google search and find out, hey, you know what? That's not the truth. And they can get your actual quote, no problem.
And the last thing you want to do is to start an online conversation.
But I was going to ask,
the torch and pitchfork crowd in your front yard, and you're going, wait a minute.
No thanks.
I was going to ask, there's been a lot of like what Kevin had said earlier about other merchandise you might want to be on. Any chance you want to do a little Lego figurine of yourself? Because those have been starting to become such a collection. I recently watched a Marvel series called What If, and then they just literally did all the little Lego versions of the people in that. They should do just a great just the music version of that, and just have a bunch of
songwriters, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I know people
singer-songwriter series or something like that.
Just look these little things like this big,
We'll start a petition.
There's stuff out there, from Phantom of the Paradise, with the Phantom and Swan and everybody, and like a little.
I mean, they could stand you up next to the Daft Punk guys too, little helmets on. Maybe they'll make you a little helmet.
Yeah, it's interesting because there are collections of really fanatic, wonderful, loyal fans. Apes movies. I mean, I did Battle for Planet of the Apes, and I get the amount of mail that I get related to the Apes movies is exorbitant compared to what you would think. That was 1972 or something. I did that. I was the voice of the Penguin on the Batman animated series.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
What and the animated Batman fans are amazing. And I've actually begun to, and I've never in my life until recently sold a time online or an autograph, but I do it now. I have a thing through the ASCAP Foundation called the Sunlight of the Spirit Foundation Award, which is basically it's honoring somebody who's doing really important work, in music and recovery. So it's every penny that is raised when I do these events goes directly to the awards and to charity. But
that is terrific.
Wow, that's terrific.
I'm 31 years sober, and it's the greatest gift I've ever been given. So I'll go ahead and do that but the people that show up like crazy are the Batman fans. They love it.
Well, it was an excellent performance. I mean, they really got some great talent on that whole show, top to bottom. So, and when you put all that talent into it, of course it's going to be beloved. It's going to become part of the culture.
Just the look of the series. I mean, the fact that it was animated on a black background instead of a white totally changed the effect of viewing it.
And that, and considering it was released kind of late 90s, early 2000s, considering they didn't really set it, but they set the stylized version of it kind of more in the 50s and 60s.
Well, it's
as opposed to like modern time.
I love that kind of a deco look, though. It's fantastic. We have an attic in the house.
Oh.
And I don't want my home to look like a museum for
the Paul Museum.
I do.
Yeah,
I do. I want my house to eventually look like a museum.
Well, that would be a question. Did they ever give you a penguin cell?
Well, I have a penguin cell, but they asked Billy Wilder, and when they did Person to Person, that old show with Billy Wilder, and they said, you've won every possible award, as a great filmmaker, but none of them are on display in your home, in his New York apartment or his home out here in Beverly Hills or whatever. And he said, no, I won't have them in the house. And they asked why. And he said, because they all have dates on them. But, up in the attic, every now and then I go up and I kind of wander through some of the stuff up there and all. And it's really fun to look at the variety of stuff, everything from the Smokey and the Bandit movies through the high art of the Smokey and the Bandit movies too.
So this is interesting. We got into a collection topic on Collect-Opolis. So you do have all this really cool memorabilia, just not on display.
Yeah, and it's and I can't, when I cross, on the other side of the veil, my kids will get that so they can put it in their attic.
They'll make them. I hope not. I hope they cherish it, put it up. I mean, gosh, I would love to go. I would visit a Paul Williams museum.
You know what? I could thank you, Kevin. You're really kind. I could start a GoFundMe and wind up in jail before I die.
Wonderful treat for you to come and do this. I know our fans will dig it. I know the Apes fans are going to dig it. Everybody that digs Paul is going to dig this.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. And it's great fun, and we're buddies, and we see each other. And your wife has actually she has saved my voice a couple times. God bless her.
Oh, wow. That's terrific.
Yeah. And if anybody is out there and going, my God, I've got to sing 22 shows, in 2 weeks. How do I do that? Reach out to Kevin, because he's married to somebody that will save your voice for you. So
this is a fact. Erica works very hard to help people keep their voices healthy.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal, because it's an instrument. People sometimes don't think of it as an instrument, like a bugle or a guitar, but it is an instrument and it has to be cared for.
Yeah. Mine's sounding more and more like like a symbol. It's been dropped by animal on the floor. Drop symbol, whatever. Anyway,
but we still love it. All right. Well, again, thank you, Paul, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you in the future.
Absolutely, and I dressed up for you guys.
Hey, look at me, right?
Oh, look at that.
And we're all dressed up too. So
this one has just been run in for 2.5 miles. So thank God you're safe. You're safe.
we're all
What are you doing? Don't drink out of that, dude.
delicious.
It's a collectible. What are you doing, man?
Yeah,
Wow, what a great interview, huh?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, again, thank you to Paul Williams for being so gracious to join us here on Collect-Opolis, and a second time on the Skywalking Network. We are so grateful and so happy that Paul was able to join us today, and I just love it. Just absolutely love it.
Yeah, the guy is just invoking his name just brings up just a ton, just a body of work, and so much recently that that last album, that Random Accessing Memory album, I remember hearing that on repeat for the longest time.
I think broke a lot of ground. I mean, to come on as strong as it did and hit the charts like it did, and the fact that these guys knew where they could, I mean, they were fans of his through Phantom of the Paradise. That was their connection to him, and they reached out to him, and man, he held, I think, 3 songs on Random Access. He
I believe so.
Lyrics, yeah. He sings one of them and does lyrics on a couple. I'm just like, that's amazing. And well, actually, that whole album is chock full of stars coming together and making this just incredible piece. And I'm so happy Paul got to be part of it. So
great guy to interview, honestly, and just his body of work. And I mean, that Wizard of Oz collectible that he showed us, that was nuts, right?
Well,
I mean, it's so funny. Like when we talk to a lot of our guests, the stuff that they decide to collect. If you would have told me, I thought for sure Paul would have been like, oh, I have this guitar from so-and-so, or I have this little, the musical sheets for this. Nope. He has a still from the Wizard of Oz. And I was like, wow, that just kind of blew my mind.
Well, as we saw in the interview, most of his collectibles or anything that museum worthy is up in his attic. So
well, yeah. Fantastic guy. Fantastic interview. I don't know how we're going to be able to top that, but coming up on Collect-Opolis, we're going to go back to talk to Jason Eaton
for the next episode, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
we're going to talk to him about that ion cannon that you keep bugging him about, from Empire Strikes Back.
That's right. Well, hey, look, it was in our look. If you go back and watch our first episode, we were talking about other projects that he had and he was working on, and this was one of them. That this isn't like an X-Wing where people can buy a model kit of that. Even though Jason does studio scale ones, there's no kits for a ion cannon from Empire Strikes Back. So this process and what he had to do to get this to what we're going to see on the next episode is fascinating. And Ernie, if we're good, if we chat him up just right, he might be sharing something a little extra with us on that episode.
You always seem to get him to talk about coming up projects. You're very good at that. Maybe we'll get an episode 3 out of him because of that too.
I think throughout the years, him checking in every once in a while. Well, let's just to put it this way: as soon as he stops doing uninteresting things, maybe we won't have him on the show. So
that's probably never going to happen, because last time we talked to him, I mean, that guy is that guy's a sucker for hard work, apparently.
he loves his art. There we go.
He loves his art. Yeah.
So don't forget to visit us on our Facebook group page. Like us, tell your friends. We would love to hear your feedback. You can comment on the show. You could ask a question, or even leave us a direct message, or tweet us at skywalkingpod and use the hashtag Collect-Opolis. We are part of the Skywalking Network,
Skynet,
where you can also find other great shows like the Neverland Clubhouse, Star Wars Ologies, Talking Apes, Totally Tell Me Everything, the Max FX Podcast, and the flagship show, Skywalking Through Neverland.
And look for more shows on the Skywalking Network YouTube channel, like classics, Marvel, Star Wars comics, and today, Star Wars history. Your daily Star Wars history lesson.
Well, that's it for this episode. I'm Kevin Toft.
I'm Ernie Moreno.
And thanks for joining us on Collect-Opolis. And remember, collect what you love.
And love what you collect.
Bye, guys.